We've still got longer screws we're putting in the doors and in the hinges and in the striker plates. Using a barrel bolt and putting it up here, the reason I put it up here is because if somebody's trying to breach using a breach tool, a pry tool, they're having to fight the weight of the tool, and their arms are not as strong above their head as they are down low. Down low you can put a lot of force and your body weight into it. If you're trying to use a battering ram, they're having to, all their energy is being expended trying to lift that battering ram up in order to breach this here. Stay away from using an industrial style door. I know that it's way stronger, it's the best kind of door you can get out there, but as a master breacher, when I see that steel door, first thing I'm going to say is I'm using a water charge. I'm going to go straight to an explosive breaching. A training team that works together can clear a one-story structure that they've never been in before in less than 15 seconds. And that's from the time they get out of the vehicle to the time they call it all clear and they're in the last room of the house. 15 seconds for a standard house. So let's not be the standard house. So we got to deny them that dynamic breach. We do that with our fortification to the home. Okay? What does that do? It slows the speed in which they can effectively get in the house, and it ruins their surprise because now we know they're there because they're wailing away on that door trying to get it to open, and it destroys their overall violence of action because it wears them down constantly trying to fight the fortification to get through. Well, the other thing we're going to talk about is the types of breaching. There are 3 different types of breaching that a master breacher will use: mechanical, ballistic, and explosive. Mechanical can be anything from I'm kicking it with my foot, I'm using a breaching tool or a pry tool, or to I'm literally using a truck with a battering ram, or I'm just driving a truck literally into the side of the house, and that's causing the wall to collapse in on top of that room. But hey, whatever, it works. To ballistic, which is where I typically want to use a shotgun is the weapon of choice for breachers. And I'm going to place the shotgun right here at that deadbolt. I'm going to aim it at a 45-degree angle up and at a 45-degree angle inward, so that the projectile, I have space here for the gases inside the tube to escape so I don't blow my gun up. And I want to hit my projectile, my slug or my breaching round is going to hit that bolt and push it out of the door jamb. Well, by having the longer screws, that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult for you to effect a ballistical breach. The other thing is, by using a metal door, I don't know a single idiot in the world that'll try to breach that with a ballistical breach, because there's a high chance that that round is going to now ricochet off that door and come back. But if I see an industrial grade door, I'm immediately going to step up to an explosive breach, which is the water charge or the linear charges or spider charge or something of that nature. And if I see an industrial grade door, I'm going to assume you spend a lot of time and quality material on that door, and I'm probably going to go, do I really want to use a water charge on that or a linear charge, or do I just want to use a spider charge and blow a hole in your wall and make a whole new door? I'm going to probably opt for the latter, me personally. So I'm just going to make a whole new door. So while you're still focused on trying to shoot me through this door, I'm walking in another room in your house with a whole SWAT team. Why? Because you spent all your time trying to fortify this door and I saw it. So even if I did use an explosive charge, a linear charge, or a water charge would be all I'd want to use on this kind of a door, because all I'm trying to do is make the door buckle and basically shrink widthwise so that it is smaller than the frame around the door, and now I can just simply push it open. That's what I'm doing with my explosive breach. Or I'm going to use a mechanical breach, but I will not use a ballistical breach on this door. So when I approach this door as a master breacher, I'm going to look at it and go, okay, I need to go mechanical, or I'm going to go explosive. Well, most SWAT teams use mechanical because of the higher risk and cost in explosive. Military, on the other hand, will use explosive all flipping day long because we love it and it's amazing, and it gives us a stronghold inside the house if we do it properly, because like I said before, placing a spider charge, I just took that wall and made it shrapnel and cleared the entire room. Trust me guys, I've worked with SWAT before. I did SRT, and I've got buddies of mine that were on SWAT teams, and every time I talk to them about rolling hand grenades down the hallway, throwing smoke down the halls, or using claymores or preset charges and stuff, the guys just look at me like a deer in the headlights. What do you could do that? I'm like, yeah, you can do that. I can do that all by myself from one defensive position and whittle your team right down to a couple guys. By the time you get to me, there's nothing there. Another problem is they're real shield heavy. They love that shield and they love that body armor. The problem is they suck with their tactics because they're so used to letting that body armor and the shield take the blunt. They're so used to hiding behind that shield and saying, well, I'm invincible because I have a shield. But they don't realize, and I've asked them several times, what is that shield ready for? Well, it'll stop every pistol and shotgun around out there. All right, well, what about an AR-15? Well, no. Well, what about an AK-47? You know, the preferred weapon of every freaking ISIS terrorist in the world. No, it won't stop that. So what you're saying is, if you come to my house and I'm running a freaking solid a rifle, you're screwed. That shield ain't gonna do crap. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. The shield also doesn't protect your feet, right? No. But I got, you know, these cool things on my shins. That's great, but is it gonna stop a freaking frag when I roll it down the hall and you step over it? What? Exactly. So if I'm sitting at the end of the hall and I just roll a frag right down and followed by a canister of smoke and a magazine of ammo, what's going to happen? Yeah, exactly. You're going to get effed up and you guys aren't going to know what the crap you're doing and you're going to be so disoriented because I didn't even have to expose myself. I just lit your whole team up, threw a frag, through the smoke so you can't see what I'm doing and I can't see what you're doing, but I can hear you and I know what you're doing. You're going, oh my goodness, what's going on? Why is my leg missing? And I just caused a whole bunch of casualties. Now I followed that with dumping a mag of ammo around the corner. I still haven't exposed myself. I'm simply just sticking the weapon around the corner and I'm causing more casualties and more chaos. Now how do I funnel them in to try to attack this one door? We're going to talk about that in the overall perimeter, but I'll give you a hint. Remove the steps. Remove the steps from the other doors. Put the steps at the door you want them to hit. All right, so we're going to talk about the windows a little bit. You're not worrying about what it looks like. You're worried about how well it works. So let me tell you a couple of things that us guys, when we were breaching houses, absolutely hated. Window tint. You put your window tint on your windows. We hated it because we can't see in. It's brighter outside than it is inside, unless it's at night and you have lights on in the inside and it's dark outside. So with the window tint, I cannot see in. I have no clue if you're sitting there waiting for me. I have no clue if you're literally following me, oriented on me the whole time I'm walking through past the windows here. I have no clue if you're even in the house. The other thing that we hate is chicken wire on the outside of it. Because chicken wire keeps us from being able to effectively punch out the glass, which is exactly what we're going to do in a dynamic breach. We're just going to come up here with that breaching tool, either the battering ram or the pry tool, and just bust the glass right out. We're going to attack the other thing that's holding that glass in is the actual frames here. Not an issue. We're going to knock that thing right out and move on. Yeah, you can put screws in those frames and actually marry the two frames together, and that'll help a little bit, but it's still not going to really stop me from getting in. The one thing that is going to stop me from getting in is a little bit of chicken wire on the outside is going to make it, I got to stop and rip that wire off. Well, guess what? You're going to hear me ripping that wire off or trying to cut that wire, and now you got to know where I'm at. The other end, you can just shoot right through all this. Shoot right through the wall, shoot right, just remember to aim a little bit low because the house is about 2 feet off the ground. Most standard houses are about 2 feet off the ground. You just shoot a little bit low and you'll hit me. And we'll talk about bullet placement with body armor and all that crap in another, a little bit later on. Another thing that will absolutely stop me from being able to get through this window, even if I put an explosive charge up there, which would be my preferred method if I'm going to go through a window, I'm going to put a water charge over here and blast it. It'll clear the window, clear debris, any kind of booby traps or anything, all in one fell swoop, and I ain't got to worry about my guys going in it or me going in it. So one way to stop that, though, is take the heavy metal grates like you see on hog cookers and your big homemade grill cookers and put it right up along here along the windows. Now remember, this is just like they built them exactly the same way that they did your doors. They framed the outside of it with 2x4s all the way around, and then they took the windows, already came in a frame, and they just set the frame and window all directly in the wall. So go just beyond the frame here, and what you're going to find is a 2x4 on either side, all the way around this whole thing. You're going to find 2x4s where you're going to lag bolt those on. Remember, a 2x4 is really 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches, or 1.25 3/4 by 3.5 inches. So you want your lag bolts to be about 1.5 to 2 inches, I'd say 2 inches. Put a big old washer, lag bolt right through the grate, and lag bolt that thing all the way around as much as you can around this window. Well, what that's going to do is, it doesn't matter if I hit it, I break it, it's going to keep that glass in place. And I can't breach it. Even with a water charge there, it's just going to hit that grate and stop. I have to now stop and deal with the flipping grate. And it's a heavy grate that's lag bolted in the wall. Now all that time I'm spinning wailing on it, you're lighting me up. So it's not worth it to me. As soon as I hit that grate, which I can't see because of the window tint, so I hit that grate, or I put my water charge or whatever there, boom, I break the glass and I still ain't through it. I'm hitting that grate, next thing I know I'm getting shot. So if your house is in such, or your structure, your home is in such a position that I cannot physically get to it with a truck because of trees, the fact that you're 2 stories in the air because you're in an apartment building or whatever, that's going to make it a little bit more of a challenge for me. I'm kind of limited on my options as to what I can do. I'm going to have to do a wall breach. And honestly, the only thing you can do for that is stand by and wait for it. And as soon as they breach, frag, 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 gun, gun, gun. That's about it. But we're going to talk about the overall larger picture, because you're not going to effectively, things that we've learned from Ruby Ridge and Waco, Texas, and some of these other places that they've actually had these sieges take place, is that the guys that were effective in repelling the immediate assault, but then it became a siege, and ultimately they lost the siege because of lack of resources, wounded personnel on hand. They really didn't have any outside help. But meanwhile, the feds on the outside, the torrential government, had all the assets that they wanted. So we're going to talk about that in the last portion of our video, and how you resolve that situation, because we got a little surprise for them on that one too.